If your health business email marketing is not up to date with current delivery parameters, in tune with your community, and continually cleaned up, you need to brace yourself for 2024. In this episode, I'm breaking down the most common misconceptions that result in mistakes. So, yeah, understand that. Not just sharing the mistakes, but it's misunderstanding things that lead to these mistakes, because obviously you're not making them intentionally, and you may not be able to intentionally clean them up without correcting some of the thoughts. No matter whether you're starting or you already got a list, stay here. You are going to be primed to do better. Email marketing is a puzzle for every industry, but the secrets are simple. Serve your customer. Offer more value than promotions, and earn the right to put a promotion in front of them. Those are the simple pieces that you need to be considering and making sure that you're doing. So reflect on them. Your success in any relationship, is understanding what somebody else is thinking and feeling. If you're not doing that as you write every single email, you are losing this race. I'm Deborah Atkinson. You're listening to She Means Fitness Business. It's a division of my business, Voice for Fitness, and at Voice for Fitness, my team believes you yourself want to be an inspiring example to other midlife women. And in order to do that, you and I need profitable health and fitness coaching businesses, because let's face it, we vote with our money. Now, if you don't get comfortable with money, maybe you're thinking, I don't want to do that, right? Well, you can give it away, right? You can scholarship everybody if you want to, but you need to make it in order to have that kind of power. So the problem usually for health and fitness pros who love health and fitness but hates business, selling, and marketing is usually a lack of clients or a lack of revenue from said clients. You're giving it away, and you may do that literally or figuratively. Like you're just volunteering your information, or you're just not charging enough that you couldn't even hire somebody for the rate that you're paying yourself. Stop it right now. I've got several resources. I can work with people one-on-one, but what I really encourage you to do is think about being a part of a community. We started the Well Pros Mastermind and Mentorship because many fitness professionals and trainers who need help couldn't pay the $5,000 that I charge for private business coaching. Does that accelerate your progress? Yes, because we only talk about you. We talk about you, your freebies, your funnel, your campaign, the words you use in your subject line, your text, your posts, and all of it. But not everyone can afford that at first. Now, here's the kicker. If you can't afford that, you should be able to make that $5,000 back in less than a month or two. Because if you take it seriously, you're going to employ those things, right? But you may learn more, learn faster, feel more comfortable and more steady and confident sooner in a group of your peers who nobody knows all the answers all the time. We're always going to re-examine what's the offer, why are we making it, and take you through a step-by-step process that you get used to running on yourself regularly. So I'm going to put the link in the podcast for the Well Pros membership. It's a month to month. There's no contracts. You could decide, read, or listen to all of the library recordings, attend for a month and say, this isn't for me, or I'm not going to implement and I know it, so I'm out. No harm, no foul. But you will be better off, I promise you. But if you decide to stay and take part, you will win, I promise you. So there's that. There's a scorecard for today. You can look at that in 2 minutes or less and find out where your holes are. But I don't want to dwell on this. So all the things will be in the show notes for today. And that'll be at fitnessmarketingmastery.com/health professionals email marketing. But listen. We have to get this right. So things are going to change again with deliverability. For a very small percent of your email list, this is a sprint. For many, many more, it's a marathon. They're going to be in a relationship with you for a marathon. You have water stations and porta potties all along a marathon, right? You need to have that for your clients. The fitness of your email marketing depends on the frequency and the intensity of your email. Think about that, right? I just made a fitness analogy. How cool, right? The fitness of your email marketing depends on the frequency and the intensity of your email. It's just like fitness. You've got to do the same kinds of things. So, in this episode, why these health business email marketing mistakes hurt you? Here they are. If you want the Reader's Digest condensed versions, email marketing too infrequently, emailing with too little value, subject lines don't pique curiosity, your links are broken or they're not included, you forgot them, email and everybody on your list gets the same thing, all ages, both genders, really, and then not resending to your unopens, say later in the day, not studying your open rate and your click rate monthly to know what subject lines resonated, what content inside resonated. That's your click. So these things you have to consider. If you aren't segmenting your email list, you're going to suffer. If you aren't tapping into emotion with every email, you're missing out. When you get curious about why your open rate is low or your click rate is poor, you can solve problems really quickly. What was it the time and the day? Was it the subject line? Was it the lack of repetition inside the email or the congruency of the message with the reason the subscriber got on your list? Or even the incongruency with the subject line and the content inside of the email. I mean, really take a good look at yourself. Would you open an email from you? I mean, this is really important. So let's talk about one by one. Email too infrequently. What is that? It's probably one or less than that per week. And I know some will swear, I only email, on Sundays. Okay. How much money are you making? Are you making too much money? That would be my question. That is probably not enough. So some of the things rolling out, the rumors, if you will, are saying, going forward, you're only going to want to email twice weekly. I mean, and that is crazy. If you're going to have a relationship with people and you're going to do a promotion, over 3 days, I'll email 4 times if I'm in a promotion. Now, I don't use and abuse that more than, say, 3 times during a year. And not always to the same people on my list. So I never, do that again and again. Like, did it in November, I'm going to do it in December. No. I'm conscious of that. I'm keeping records of that. I know that, right? You have to know that. But too infrequently, you are just like somebody who asked for a first date and then never called again. Not a good thing. Emailing with too little value. It's really, do you have a reason? Is it valuable? Don't just send an email. This is like a lot of people posting on social media. They're just posting to check the box. Don't do it. You're better off posting nothing that day instead of posting just I posted today. Wasn't very good, but I posted. I wouldn't want something not very good, right? Posted on my timeline. So think about, how do you offer value? I mean, a couple of the biggest things for anybody in health and fitness is an exercise video pointing out how to do something, a unique exercise maybe, or a controversial exercise, pointing out biggest errors at home exercise or in gym exercises. I mean, there's so much that you can put in each one. Just create a list and a series of what could my video be today. And what about recipes? With a specific purpose, not just a recipe, but I mean, what is the purpose? Like, here's how I reduce the carbs in this fan favorite recipe. Here's how I boosted the protein at this meal. this very popular meal. Here, whatever. So how are you solving a problem that they want? That's important. Add value for them. Subject lines don't pique curiosity. Get better at this, please. So I have a financial planner. He's actually mine. And I gave him some advice about let's not, I said, Darren, what if you change the subject line of your email from, the Monday newsletter? Because literally that was it, to something else. Like, maybe that's your start if you want to do that. So you've got consistency. And then you say how to make more money in retirement, how to have more money for that European vacation. How about you change it each time so that it's, congruent with the content that's going to be inside, but it piques curiosity. It either gives me something I want, or solves a problem I have. And, he's like, I don't know, my open rate's pretty good, and this is so, now I can say this because I was married to one, but this is so financial planner, right? Not very forward thinking. And, there are a lot of constraints about the financial industry. So we have to give them credit for that they're probably a little scared. But, if you're not piquing curiosity, your emails aren't getting open. You don't know even how valuable the content inside is. You have to get those open. So think about how valuable are those subject lines. And I would encourage you to do this. Every time you have something in your inbox that is like it's compelling. You can't even not click on it. Put that in a folder or create a spreadsheet. This line got me to look, and maybe it's industry specific or business specific, and you can't use it exactly. That's not the goal, but it's for you to be inspired to create one. What if you're sending these emails? Inside of it, you're linking to a program, the link is broken or it's the wrong link. We have this happen in our business way too often. I will go to a site, we've asked somebody to put something in our resources page, and the link is taking them to a different resource. And I'm like, did we not check this? We didn't test this. Are you kidding me? Or an email will go out, and I'm like, to the people who prepared the email, there should be a test email that you sent yourself. You then opened all the links, right? So this is a part of your responsibility as a business owner. If you right now are doing the email marketing for yourself, check it. Email in everybody. Email to all ages and both genders. Now, there's very few things where this would be applicable, but there are a few. And some will say, well, I need to create a newsletter because we have, X amount of members, and some of them are, 20 something or 30 something with young children, and some are retired and over 60, but, they're all our members. It's true, but if you've never segmented your list based on demographics of things they're interested in, whether that be activities like biking or spin classes, or it's based on, okay, these are our adults over 50, if they've chosen to give you that information, or this is for men, or women. And you may email women included on a list about programs for men, because why? Because women influence, 85% or more of decisions in their household. They're sharing it probably with their men. So there are times when it's applicable, but generally if you're emailing everybody and you got college students and you have retired people both, and everything in between, people who are pregnant, people trying to get pregnant on your list, at some point over and over and over, you're emailing things that are not pertinent to them, and they're going to get off. I mean, I don't want something that isn't relative to me. So I just unsubscribe all the time. I'm like, I don't even know how I got this. And I will indicate that it's spam if I've told somebody more than once I went off this list and they didn't do it. So think about that. And then look at sending to your unopened. So after you've done all these things, you made sure you've got really good subject lines, make sure the links inside are not broken, but send to the unopens. So if we have an email that will go out and we stagger them, because if we have a big enough list that we don't want to send to all, 65,000 people at one time, you have to break that into batches so that more of them are delivered. So it takes, 4 to 6 hours to deliver them all. But if we start at like 4:45 in the morning, and then we take a look at open rates, either that night or the next morning. My preference would be, we do a resend of an email that hasn't been open yet. We do it either late in the day, like 5 p.m., or we'll do it first thing the next morning, because you don't know for sure if it wasn't delivered until 11. If somebody's working all day, maybe they haven't had a chance to open it. But what it does, if you resend it, it just raises it to a height on their inbox again for a time when they are available. But if you don't send those unopened, you can't assume that anybody goes through. I have important things that I miss all the time because there's hundreds of emails coming in every day and I miss them. Yesterday, somebody emailed and said, "Hey, you're a sponsor for this event. We actually need there was a lingering part of the payment you didn't make, and I don't know why, but it was an odd sum of money. Like I left off $40 for some reason. It was a lot bigger check than that, but I also didn't give them, my content." And I'm like, I would not ever, not do that on purpose. I didn't see it, and there's lots of things like that. So don't assume that just because you emailed, people see it. Could be in their promotions. It could just be buried in their inbox. And it's something they potentially want. If it's going to change their lives, if you know for sure you're offering value inside of it, then resend it. Then last but not least, not studying your open and click rates monthly. So right now, if you don't do that, and we do this weekly, right? So I want you to, in fact, I do it with each and every single email. I am looking the next day, what was the email percentage on that? Because I'm getting mental feedback on the subject line. And I'm getting mental feedback on how many people clicked that. For how many people is this subject, the topic, or the offer compelling for them? Then I'm getting that immediately. So I know. So if you don't study that either daily, weekly, or monthly, set some time aside right now to do that. And this may be the first time you're doing it. Maybe the first time you sit down to do that because it's in your calendar and you put it there right now. You might say, I'm not quite sure what to do. Okay, well, figure it out when you have that first hour, and then you'll get on it. So you can track it. You can probably, if you have a CRM that is elaborate enough, you can dig into this and you can get the stats on, biggest open rates, prior emails, and you can see them all at a glance within a certain time frame. So you may or may not need a spreadsheet, right? So take this from the mother of the groom who's, involved in a lot of spreadsheets right now. Like everything is spreadsheet. I'm like, oh, I don't function like that, but I can play. So when you get really curious about your open rate, your click rate, whether it's low or poor or it's high, you can solve some of your email delivery problems really quickly, or your sales promotion problems. Think about that. The time in the day, subject line, and I'm asking a lot of questions. These are things you have to ask, and you won't be able to if you're just looking at one thing at a time to say this. But these are things I would put on a spreadsheet, and I would put on, okay, this was a really high open rate. Like here's the subject line. Here was the open rate. Here was the click-through rate. Here's, what this was about. And then I would say, or the day and the time it was delivered. And then I would start looking for the highest open rates were at this time. What are the common denominators for all of those? Was it a day? Was it a time? Was it a certain subject? or a word or two in the subject line. You'll be able to collect clues looking at more and more of it. So start now, even if you haven't done it. But if you've emailed in the past, you already have some data to go back to and analyze. So do it. All right. Do it now, especially if you are in end of the year or beginning of the year, right? These are hot times for promotion. So no matter what, the world needs you right now, but they need you to up your game. If you're curious about marketing and copywriting is not your forte, what I want to tell you is that it is. You're good at relationships. It's most likely why you're doing what you're doing. You're better than you think, but there is an art to learning words that persuade and learning words that repel, learning the personality type of the people you're trying to attract so that you use words that are favorable for them. So if you want more information, I have a course, a copywriting course I will link to for a very special rate for those of you who are podcast listeners and getting there from this. It's all about women though. So if you market to midlife women, these are 5 personality types. So you can't say, okay, I work with midlife women, they're about 55 and they're just post menopause. They're not all the same. We're motivated by very, very different things. Some of us by marketing, or I'm sorry, some of us not by marketing, by mastery is an M word. And, we get a certain ego status by being the first, or being the best, some by adventure, some by family and the value it's going to have to your family. There's different things and different words then that push those hot buttons and get women to do something that is good for them, but do it with more urgency. Like do it now, not put it off. Okay, show notes for this one will be at fitnessmarketingmastery.com/health professionals email marketing. What are you waiting for? The world needs you right now more than ever.